Good evening and a very warm welcome to all the parents and guardians joining us today. We're so glad to have you here for this important and timely webinar, The Parent's Guide to Matric Support. My name is Stephanie Dehaan and I'm the Content Manager at SACAP. Whether this is your first child writing Matric or you've walked this journey before, we know how intense and emotional this time can be. Not just for the students, but for parents too. You're juggling encouragement, motivation, sometimes anxiety, and the constant challenge of figuring out how best to help without adding pressure. Today, we're here to equip you with practical tools, emotional insight, and expert advice to help you become a steady, supportive presence for your child in these final, crucial months. Right. Joining us this evening, we have Adam Willemse, who has 17 years of experience teaching high school learners and is now an educator at SACAP. Adam holds degrees in psychology and educational psychology. Next, we have Charlene Wessels, who is a qualified educational psychologist. She holds a master's degree in educational psychology, which she obtained from the University of Johannesburg. She also holds a private practice in Durbanville, Cape Town, and is an educator at SACAP. So without any further ado, I'll now hand over to our speakers. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I hope for this session tonight to give you a clear understanding of what your children are currently experiencing in their matric year and how best you can support them. Our aim for this session is to focus on practical, actionable advice, and hopefully you can take something from this evening. So, the matric year and why it matters. It's the last year before these young adults move fully into adulthood and have to make a lot of choices for themselves. The academic pressure is extremely high in this matric year, and there's a lot of expectations on these matriculants. So what are these matriculants going through on a typical day? It's not just about attending regular classes. Their timetables are often packed with not only their core subjects, but also extra lessons, supplementary classes, and study groups, leaving them with very little downtime. They are under constant evaluation. It feels like they're always preparing or recovering from some sort of assessment, be it tests, assignments, or practical tasks. This creates a sense of relentless pressure, as I said just now. Matric involves a huge amount of content across many subjects. Students are expected to not only understand it, but also memorize and apply it, which can be very overwhelming. Matric is academically challenging. It's not enough to just scratch the surface. Students need to delve deep into the subject matter. They also need to have a broad understanding across various subjects, which requires them to switch gears constantly. Rote learning just won't cut it anymore. Students must be able to take what they've learned and apply it to unfamiliar problems and contexts. Effective time management is crucial. Matric students have to juggle competing demands for different subjects, each with its own set of deadlines and assessments. It's important for us to acknowledge that students feel a lot is riding on their matric results. And these results can open doors to further education and career paths, which adds to their pressure. As parents, you play a vital role in the observing and understanding what your child is going through. Here are some things you might notice. You're likely to see them spending more time studying than before, let's hope. Long hours with their books become the norm. They may express frustration or struggle with specific subjects, which can be a sign that they need extra support. The sheer mental effort required for Matric can lead to fluctuations in energy levels. They might seem more drained than usual. Pay attention to whether they are actively seeking out resources like study guides, online materials, or asking for help from teachers or peers. This indicates they are taking initiative in their learning. Let's just quickly look at the quote on the screen. No matter what your ability is, effort is what ignites that ability and turns it into accomplishment. So we need to shift our focus from understanding the pressures to how we as parents can help alleviate them. We'll explore how to encourage a healthy approach to learning. And this section will provide strategies for fostering a growth-oriented mindset in your child. So the pitfalls of perfectionism. It's natural for the parents to want their children to do well, but an excessive focus on perfection can be detrimental. When students are fixated on being perfect, they often experience heightened anxiety, especially around tests and assignments. The fear of making mistakes can be crippling. I think this is especially true for your high achievers, but also for the, I don't want to say the lower achievers, the average achievers, let's put it that. So this crippling fear can lead to avoidance, and students might shy away from difficult tasks or subjects because they're afraid they won't excel. The relentless pursuit of perfection is totally unsustainable in the long run. It can lead to exhaustion, stress, and ultimately burnout. Paradoxically, the focus on perfection can hinder learning. Students become more concerned with getting the right answer than with truly understanding material. And now I will hand over to my colleague Charlene for the next section.
Thank you, Adam. Yes, I'm here to speak to you about what the students are really going through emotionally, which, sure, I think it's such a big topic, especially in the grade 12 year, in the matric year. There is so much that they go through. One of the major things definitely is the stress and anxiety with regards to matric and just getting ready. It's thinking about the matric dance, it's thinking about their academics, it's thinking about where am I going to go to university, not really knowing sure where they fit in. So yes, it really does have the sense of extreme anxiety that we always need to be aware of. It's really, really important. If we can just go to the next slide, one of the other factors also is this thing of burnout, that if they work too hard, they are going to get this sense of burnout. There are some matric students, and this is what we need to be very wary of as parents, that would sit hours and hours at end studying, and then they don't get the results that they want. And I think we as parents, we need to be there to encourage them to just have a balance in terms of that, because burnout can happen so quickly. So for me, I think the biggest thing that I want to leave you with today definitely is it's important that we focus on the quality of the studying that's happening and not the quantity necessarily. And then there's this fear of disappointment I don't want to disappoint my parents. I don't want to disappoint my teachers. I don't want to disappoint myself. These are just some of the emotional challenges that they do face. Besides that, also is this uncertainty about the future. So I'm getting this pressure from my parents. I'm getting pressure from my teachers. I'm pressurizing myself. And then I don't know what I'm going to do next year. I don't really know what I want to do next year. Those are just, some of the anxiety things that come up. And then, of course, the social pressures as well. So there are so many emotional challenges that the matric students have that we just need to be aware of as parents. So I really wanted to show you this iceberg because it's such a powerful image for me in terms of just what a child, specifically a matric child, or even any teenager goes through. If we look at the internal emotional states, all of the things we can't see, there are many. But what we do see and the behaviors we do see is aggression, raging, when your child is screaming at you, saying, leave me alone. I can do this by myself. I know how to study. Some of them have a low tolerance level. Some of them are frustrated. Some of them say words that they don't mean. I'm sure that a lot of parents that are here today know that this is what's happening in their houses, screaming, crying, avoidance, closing their door, slamming their door, isolating themselves, sometimes hiding in their room. And just a general loss of self-control. That's what we see as parents. But what we don't see is that they are nervous, that they are exhausted, they are scared, they're insecure, they're disappointed, they're alone. Sometimes they're embarrassed that they don't want to say that, you know what, I really need help with this subject. I really need help. I don't want to be the small little girl or boy anymore, but I need help. I need help to study. Sometimes they have so many other worries that we just aren't aware of. And yes, as parents, we want to believe that they are comfortable to chat to us, but sometimes they don't. They don't want to talk to you about their worries. So it's very important that we're just aware of what is happening internally and the fact that they maybe feel helpless, they maybe feel sad, they may be fearful. So it's a lot of pressure that they are sitting with. And I just wanted to show this to you, just to show you that it's so deep rooted and there's so much that goes on, for a grade 12 matric student. So signs, this is important. We need to know how to know that our children are struggling emotionally. One of the first things is definitely their change in mood. So maybe there's a change in their mood or behavior. They withdraw from the family. A lot of matric students and teenagers would isolate themselves completely, sometimes close the door, would say things like, just leave me alone. When you pick up that your child is struggling to sleep, maybe they wake up often or they would have difficulty falling asleep. That's one of the main key symptoms that I think is very, very frequent in my practice that I see. And then also changes in appetite. When you see that they don't eat enough anymore, or they eat too much, that can also be an indicator of emotional challenge. And then, of course, also if they drink a lot of coffee. I know a lot of grade 12s specifically, they like these energy drinks or coffee, to keep them going. They say that it sustains them. But actually, it's bad because it really gives them that up and high feeling and then it drops down. And then that obviously also causes irritability. So when they look irritable, when they seem sensitive, if you say something and, it looks like they want to start crying, that is a good indicator that they are struggling emotionally. And then, of course, the last one is expressions of hopelessness or frustration, like, I can't do this anymore, or I don't feel like doing this. Or maybe they're just lying on the couch and saying to you, I'll study later. I'm not going to do it right now. And they're quite adamant at it as well. These are some of the signs that I really would like you to just be aware of and look out for. This really is about what Matric students need most from their parents. So now we know how to identify if there's something emotionally going on, but now how can we help? I think this is the biggest challenge that a lot of parents face. We don't know where to start, what to do. It feels like our children are not listening to us. What do we do? I think the biggest thing is just understanding. They want understanding. They want you to know and accept that the year is emotionally intense. So sometimes it's just about you going to your child and saying, I understand you're going through a lot. It is a lot, but you can get through this. Just that little bit of positive motivation sometimes goes a really long way. And then the second one here is stability. It's very important that even though they might feel frustrated and they might feel that they can't anymore and there's so much to study, that you as a parent, you create the calmness in the home environment. Create a structure for them, make sure that they know that they can have a space to study, that it's safe, that it's calm. And if they have a question or if they need help, they can reach out to you. And encouragement, celebrate the small wins. Don't just focus on results. Don't just go to them and say, you have to do well on this, you have to get a good matric, you have to go to university next year. Yes, those things are important, but it's very important to focus on the progress they are making towards that big goal. So celebrate the small wins. If they bring home a test that was good, fantastic, this is great. And so forth. And then the presence, be available emotionally and physically. Be there for them. And if they feel like they can't chat to you, seek outside help. That's also very important. Communication, keep the conversations open and non-judgmental. I think this is an important one. Don't only speak about academics. Also speak about, how's things going in their lives. What's happening socially, anything that they want to share with you. This is really important as well. On the next slide, in terms of practical support strategies that I just want to share with you, it's important that we help them manage their time, but not micromanage them. They are older, they are teenagers, they want that sense of independence. So it is important to maybe just do a check-in, how things going for you in terms of your English, if the exam is coming up soon. But you don't need to ask them every single hour of every single day how things are going, because that's really micromanaging. And then that's when they start isolating, because they feel like, oh, but I know what I'm doing, just let me do it. But it's also important that we ensure that they take regular breaks. Because like I say, some students, they really don't want to disappoint us. So they keep on going and going and going, and they don't take breaks. And then what some of them also do is they would study until late at night, and then they don't get in sleep. And then the next morning when it's exam time, they are so exhausted that they don't remember the content that they've actually taken in at all. So it's really important that we make sure that they take breaks and they get enough sleep. And then healthy eating. I always say your brain can't think if you're not eating healthy. And it's also really important that they get exercise. So it's important that they get that sense of energy. I'm taking a break now, I have studied, and then moving on. And then offer them help with the applications for university without putting pressure onto them. Say to them that you can go with them through the websites, make sure that they have that support. That's very important. And my last point on this slide is just to limit unnecessary household demands. So if they usually do a lot of chores in the house, or in terms of any demands that are in the household, to just limit that, to give them the time to study. Because I often get students, and I hear about students where they have to do so much in the house that they just don't have the time to study. And we also need to just be careful with that in terms of balance. And then on the next slide, what not to do is to compare your child to others. That's very important, especially a younger brother or sister or an older brother or sister, that makes them feel like a disappointment. So we don't want to do that. Avoid focusing on only the marks and the performance. It's very important that you focus on all areas of their life, not just on marks, not just on the performance. And don't ever invalidate their feelings. Don't just say it's just exams, you're going to get through this. Rather be with them there and say, I realize that it's stressful. I know what you are going through. I understand what you are going through. That's really important for them to just get that feeling of, my mom and dad's here for me. My mom and dad understands what I'm going through. That's really important. And then refrain from reliving your own matric experience through them. I think sometimes a lot of us tell our children, when I was in matric, I did X, Y, Z. But that actually impacts them because then they feel like, okay, but you've gone through this already. I have my own experience and you're not understanding where I'm coming from. So it's really important that we don't compare them and we're there. We're physically there and we're there to support them whenever they need. It's all about promoting their mental health and well-being. So encourage them to talk about their feelings, whether it's stress or negative feelings or positive feelings. That's very important. And normalize seeking professional support. If it's really needed and your child is struggling with this focus of negative thinking, like I'm not going to do well in this, I'm going to fail this exam, I'm not going to do well in XYZ, to normalize, you know what, it's okay. I'm going to help you. I'm going to take you to a counselor. I'm going to take you to a therapist, that they realize that it's okay to need that little bit of motivation from someone else where they can go freely and talk about the things that bother them. Encourage their hobbies, and downtime balance is really important. So even though they're writing exams, don't stop everything. Like they're not going to do sport, they're not going to go to gym, they're not going to spend time with their friends. It's really important that there's a balance in terms of, yes, you can still do your hobbies because they still need enjoyment. That's their downtime. And then also having the studying. And then be mindful of your own stress and how it affects your child. So we as parents, we do tend to stress a lot. We don't just have our own stress, but then we stress about our children as well. So it's really important that we are mindful in terms of how it affects our children. Don't put the stress onto them, don't project it onto them. Rather keep them away from your stress, and you are their calm. Be calm for them, be a support for them. It's really important that you're the one in the house that they can come to and they know I'm going to find a sense of peace and calmness here. Also, a lot that happens is when the stress levels are high and there's a big exam and it is finals coming up or prelims coming up, and your child is screaming and you screaming back, it creates an atmosphere that's not calm. And that's where we need to just take 5 minutes, walk away, come back. We're going to speak calmly about this, and let's make sure that you are going to do your best and you're going to be prepared your best. Okay, so this is how we can promote their overall well-being. During exam time, it's important to be supportive and not demanding. This is really important to not demand too much from them. The focus really needs to be on school and their subjects and their work and what needs to be done. Provide a quiet and comfortable study space. I can't emphasize this enough. Don't let your child study on the dining room table. Don't let your child study on their bed. Don't let your child study on their carpet. All of that isn't a comfortable study space. If they're lying on their bed trying to study, they're actually telling their brain they want to sleep. It's really important that the study space is where it should be. It's also important that there's a routine. So just like at the same time when you would have lunch and dinner, etc., that they still keep in those routines. So studying doesn't take over their whole life. Stock up on snacks for them. Water is important. Essentials in terms of minimizing stress. I always tell the matric students specifically that they have a glass of water with them so that they can drink it as they go. And just to create that sense of positivity, leave motivational notes for them anywhere, in their lunchbox, on their wall, on their mirror. It can really be encouraging when they read a little note from their parents. So that's just an idea for you, a practical idea for you to make it easier for them. And then the next slide, I'm going to hand over to my colleague again, Adam, to speak about life after school and helping your child to make empowered choices.
Thanks, Charlene. So as we discuss how to support your child through Matric, it's also important to look ahead to what comes next, life after school. So in this section, I will focus on how to help your child make informed and empowered decisions about their future. So it's crucial for your child to understand that university is not the only path to success. There's a wide range of options available. Higher education includes traditional university degrees, but also diplomas and other qualifications offered by various institutions. Vocational training provides practical, hands-on skills for specific careers through technical colleges, apprenticeships, and similar programs. Entrepreneurship is another viable option where students can start their own business and create their own opportunities. A gap year of which I am super supportive, and I encourage teenagers to take a gap year, can give them valuable experience through travel, volunteering, or focused personal development, helping them gain clarity about their future direction. As parents, our role is to guide and support, not to dictate. The goal is to empower our children to make their own informed choices. So I encourage your child to think deeply about their interests, what they're good at, and what's truly important to them. And this self-awareness is key to making sound decisions. Assist them in gathering information about different career options, educational institutions, and programs. Provide them with resources and support their research efforts, as Charlene said earlier. Create an environment at home where your child feels comfortable expressing their thoughts, fears, and aspirations without feeling judged or pressured. Help them understand that the most prestigious university or career might not be the best fit for them. The ideal path is the one that aligns with their unique needs, values, and goals. So taking concrete steps, I have some practical ways in which you can assist your child in taking the next steps. Offer your help with the often complex process of applying to universities, colleges, or other programs, as Charlene said. Work together to explore options for financing their education, such as scholarships, bursaries, and student loans. Also encourage them to network and connect with professionals in the field that interests them. This can provide valuable insight and potential opportunities. Support the development of essential life skills, such as budgeting, effective communication, and problem solving. These skills will be crucial for their success in whatever path they choose. So, resources and support where they can also look for answers about the future. Most schools nowadays have school counselors and psychologists that has a lot of knowledge about what is out there. I think Charlene will speak about mental health hotlines and online support groups. And also time management and study skill tools. I see there's a parent asking about study skills. There's many useful online tools that the students can use for this. And then also recommended books and podcasts on teen mental health. Yeah, Charlene, I think this is where you take over.
Thank you, Adam. Yes, so I just want to chat to you a little bit about what is available, because again, we're not really always sure where to go. I shared earlier about the emotional challenges that some of our children and grade 12 students are going through. So one of the things that's really important is just to know what's available out there. So the following hotlines is really of good use. SADAG, South African Depression and Anxiety Group, has got a anxiety and depression hotline that can just be called, and when they call, they can literally have a counseling session if they need that help. So we have a teen suicide helpline. There's a 24-hour mental health helpline. There's even WhatsApp support. So there really are a lot of ways that your child can have access to a professional and to these resources without you having to pay a lot of money for it. So it's really important that we use it. It's available. And then Lifeline South Africa is also there. This is specifically for emotional support, trauma counseling, and crisis intervention. And then on the next slide, we have online support groups as well. So SADAG does offer an online teen support group where there's group sessions, Zoom group sessions for teenagers. So it's a whole lot of teenagers that come together online and they discuss what they are going through, what their struggles are, and it really helps. It helps to hear from another person that's the same age as you, that, you know what, I'm also struggling with this. This is something that's happening in Matric that I don't like. So again, this is really good sources for you to have for your kids. The South African Federation for Mental Health is another one as well. As I am talking, I see we are sharing the links in the chat box for you as well. That's in terms of online support. On the next slide, I just want to talk a little bit about time management and study skill tools. So there's a lot of apps available that can help your child in terms of studying. So one of them is Forest, and that's on iOS and Android. It really helps you stay focused by growing a virtual tree. So it's basically like steps that you follow in terms of your studying plan, and it shows you once the tree is grown, which is really cool. You know, the kids love that. And then we have Trello, which organizes tasks visually on boards. So it actually is a board and it creates visuals that also helps with studying in terms of that. My Study Life is a planner app specifically for students. So they can plan their studying, they can plan when they're going to be doing what they're going to be studying, when the exams are. That's a really good time management tool that really helps. And then we also have something called the Pomodoro timer, which is just to help your child focus more. So what happens is it is a timer that you can set, and then your child has to learn and study for 25 minutes. And then that's a focus block. Once the 25 minutes is over, they stop and they have a short break. Then it starts all over again where they study again. That helps them to really focus and zone in on the skills. I think you remember me saying earlier, it's all about the quality, not the quantity. You can study a lot more effectively if you are focused on the work in the moment. So that's what the Pomodoro timer is and how that works. And then on the next slide, I just wanted to chat to you a little bit about time blocking. So just like with the Pomodoro technique, where you are looking specifically at focusing for 25 minutes, and you are studying for 25 minutes and taking a 5-minute break, it's very important to time block as well. So, for example, if they have an exam that they are studying for, and it is an English exam, but they also may be writing maths, it's very important that they block out time so that they know that this is the hour I'm going to spend on maths. This is the hour I'm going to be spending on English. And the way that I usually recommend it in the study skill specifically is that it would be one subject that would be studied within that hour. So the 25 minutes would be English, 5-minute break, 25 minutes English. Then they take a little bit of a longer break, so maybe half an hour, and then they start with their next subject. So that's a really good way to just time block, and also for them to know, when they are going out or when they're going to a social event, that they block out that time and they know that I'm not going to be able to study during this time. It's also very good. Then we have something called the Eisenhower Matrix, which helps prioritize tasks based on urgency. If they have an assignment due in a matric year, but they also have a big test, it helps them to prioritize in terms of what do I need to do first, what do I need to do second, what do I need to do third. And then also some other techniques that I just wanted to share with you briefly, which also helps a lot with studying, is Quizlet. So Quizlet actually makes flashcards on certain topics in terms of the grade 12 syllabus and what your child's subjects may be. And then there are study games as well, where they literally, all the content is there, which is great. So they don't have to spend hours and hours and hours making it. It is available where they can literally go click on it and they can go study it, which is great. And then Notion is also an all-in-one productivity workspace, which really helps with focus, planning, knowing what to study when, and so forth. So these are just a few techniques that I wanted to share with you today. On the next slide, I want to leave you with the following. Your love, patience, and belief in your child can be the most powerful support during this pivotal year. It's very important that you are the anchor when the pressure gets overwhelming. It's important that you celebrate progress and not perfection, and that we stay connected emotionally and practically. That's extremely important. So we need to be there for them. We need to love them. We need to be patient for them, and we need to believe in them. That's what I just wanted to end with today. I really hope that you've taken a lot of information this evening. I also lastly just want to mention that the Department of Education has got a lot of resources there for students, past papers that are downloadable, resources in terms of study guides that are downloadable as well. So please go and look out on the Department of Education. There are a lot of tools there as well for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to our lovely speakers, to Adam and Charlene. I think you've shared a wealth of information, and I'm sure every parent and guardian who is attending this webinar has found something insightful in what you have shared today. For our attendees, thank you both so much. I am aware that there are a few questions still left in the chat box. However, we have come to the end of our Q&A session. If we haven't answered your question, or if you have any burning questions that you didn't get a chance to ask, please feel free to leave them in our chat box along with your email address, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Please do follow us on our various social media channels to stay up to date on upcoming events, program launches, and updates to see the recording to this webinar. Once again, I just want to thank our speakers for all the insight that was shared this evening, to our attendees for spending this time for us, and I hope you have a wonderful evening further. Take care.